Webinar as we are about to unveil the capabilities of educare finance. I'm sure a whole lot of us doesn't know the capabilities of educare finance. It's an encompassing finance that captures fully both receivables and expenditures. Now, we'd like to take it bit by bit and do a walkthrough, a proper training on how you can explore and use every aspect of educare finance. Today, we've got Mr. Alex Onya as one of the facilitators for today's session. Mr. Alex, please.
Good morning, everyone. I want us to be a little bit more focused on today's session. So our target is, we're going to break it down into different components. Firstly, we're going to talk about invoicing. And our invoicing target will have to deal with this particular next term that we're generating invoices for. We want to see how we can plan our invoices. We can generate our invoices. We can create restrictions. We can collect payment. We can also restrict parents who have refused to pay, not to be able to view their children's results, to be able to pick up payment from previous term or previous session. So we're going to walk through that journey, right? I may not be able to start going through the intricacies. So we have videos on our YouTube channel where you can go to. We've already pre-recorded. Let me go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search for educare tech, we already have some of these videos here on finance, well detailed. You can see the tutorial part 1, you can see the part 2, you can see part 3, and then you can see part 4. So there are some areas that I may have to jump, but I will have to go straight into how some of us can plan and use this more effectively. So when you go on YouTube, you can carefully go through this, like the setups, every single thing we're talking about here, they have been carefully captured there. Then secondly, we're going to talk about requisitions. We want to see how it works. We want to use it in a much more practical sense. We will credit, we will make transfers, we will ask questions, have permissions, and some of these interesting things. Then we're going to go back to our store. We want to see how our store works. We want to see how we can explore the warehouse. We want to see how we can put on inventory, create restrictions, avoid theft, and so many of all these things, right? Then we're also going to talk about Switch app. I know almost every school that ever uses the educare finance uses Switch app. Some of them, don't have access. Some do have access. They may want to have a much more holistic view of how it works and how they can effectively use it. So based on this, we are going to go deep into it. So firstly, on your dashboard, so it depends on the access you have. So there are some restrictions. The educare finance is not available for everyone. There are some restrictions. So ideally, if you have an admin access, normally if you go to settings, you have an admin and super admin access actually. From settings, you can go, if you click on settings, you go to module permission manager. At that point, let's say you've already created some roles. I believe every admin knows how to create roles. Let's say I'm creating a new role called finance manager. It can be a super role called finance manager, and I'm giving the person a manager access. I don't want the person to have ability to switch roles or view dashboard analytics. Once I create it now, you'll see that there's a new role called the finance manager. So these are how roles are created. Every super admin knows how to do this. At this point, I can also go to finance and give some specific abilities for this person. Can say, okay, I don't need this person to handle setup, or I want the person to handle setup. So maybe don't tamper with payment gateway. I can allow you for chart of accounts, account numbers, account setup, management. So these are where all the basic setups, you can give them roles. So when you see sales report, sales monitor is not for schools. So these are for supermarkets and the rest. So you have to ignore it. Service monitor, service invoices doesn't really apply for schools, but I can make it available here. Store inventory, store warehouse, pickup units, pickup appointment, front desk. Then we'll talk about budgets, requisition, request form. I'm also going to walk us through on how this works in a more practical form, direct post. I'll leave petty cash, salary advance, payroll. As a finance person, do I want them to see this? I mean, these decisions are dependent on you. This is our training portal, bonus and reduction. Then for these ones are for parents only. Store appointment are for parents only. We are going to view it and see how it works in real life. Appointment manager. Then we don't need livestock or rental or customers. Then I'm going to reporting session. Do I need go to financial statement, cash transactions, debit memo, general ledger, offline invoices, and reports. So I'm also going to carefully walk us through the offline invoices. You know, some schools will say, we don't want to use payment gateway because of charges and this and that. At the end of the day, the traditional way that parents send invoices, either they send via email or they send via WhatsApp, which creates chaos. So we've created a system whereby even if you don't want to use online payment yet, parents can pay, go to their portal, upload their receipt, you verify it, and then you update their invoice. Everything is mini automated. But this time around, you are not using the online payment system. So we are going to show you how that works. So at this point, I'm going to, if you log in with your details, you get into this interface. Then just a moment. Here, I'm going to go to educare finance. So from educare finance, like I mentioned earlier, on the videos, we've already done a lot of explanations. Firstly, payment gateway. The approved payment gateway we have here is Switch App. We have other options, right? But the one we have approved for everyone, highly recommended is Switch App because it gives us more control, more power, makes everything a lot more seamless. That is far more reliable than any other options we have here. So that's why we activate it by default. So this part of setup is not for the school. So it's educating that does the setup. So if this is not available in your school, this setup is not done yet, kindly reach out to the team. They'll help you do the setup very quickly. It takes approximately 10, 15 minutes for it to be done. After that, we'll get to chart of account. So we also have the video here where chart of account setups are done. I wouldn't want to start going deeply into chart of account setups because I would like us to have a proper deep understanding of how it works so that we don't spend so much time because a lot of people have already done this in their school. So by default, you must have done this. So if you come into this place, there are some base parameters here. You can now do your setups as well. Watch the video, understand it. You can make some adjustments if you want. So the video is here. This is this video that you can see the full training and setup for chart of account. Now, coming back here, let's go to account numbers. Every single school have several account numbers. You have account for uniform, account for tuition, account for primary fee, account for secondary fee. So this is where we add them. Now, the good thing here is if you are using the online payment system, you can add multiple accounts. To add them, simply just click on this, add your number, choose your bank, is it Access? Then put in your account details. Once you put in your account details, the system generates the account number, generates the bank alias, and then you can add. Also, some of these explanations are in that video. However, while you are adding these parameters, right, these account details, the good thing is that once you are using online payment, once payment comes, based on the instruction you give it, you can say, for instance, when any payment comes from uniform, let the payment settle in uniform account, which can be EcoBank. When a payment comes on tuition, let it settle on tuition account, which can be Sterling Bank. So all these things can now work as background office. So parents clicks on, I'll show you how it works. Parents click on available invoice. They can pay. Mr. Henry, can you turn up the annotation, please? Yes, please turn it up. Have you removed it? Let me clear this one. Boom. So can you turn it off, please? Okay. So at that point, so by the time you set up accounts, firstly, you have to set up your opening balance. Opening balance is how much do you have in that account at the moment. So let me set up an opening balance here. Let's say at this point, I have 200 million. And opening balance, I'm opening it today at this particular time. Then let's say I'm opening at 10:05. Then I'm saving. So at this point, my current opening balance is 200 million. So every other activity I'm doing here will actually be reconciling with this, right? So I can, like I said, you can add, you can edit, you can delete. So all these functions are here. And if you notice here, there's this icon that shows like a question mark. This is an explanatory icon. We actually attach it almost in every place. If you click on this at any point you are in finance or in educare, it gives you some explanations that can guide you through. This is like a quick tip on how this particular place works. So you can see it here. If you click on it, it reveals to you. If you click on it, it goes off. That is how it works. Now, secondly, let's go to account setup. Like this place is also not available for everyone in the team. Maybe the super admin or the head of account, depends on the permission you give. So you have to be very careful with this part. So if you go to permissions, so firstly, come to permissions. You can see there are sub-functions. So there are individual based permissions and we have the role based permission. So the role based permission is you are given a role of accountant or finance manager. There are some things that you can see. So I can give you this place as finance manager. But now there are some individuals, even while you have the access as finance manager, there are some things that you will also be restricted to do. So as somebody who have a pseudo access, which is probably like the super admin or the head of account or the director, I can say, okay, I want only the admin and Daniel Taylor to be able to view chart of account. So even while they may be able to see chart of account, once they click on it, if you don't have the permission, the system will restrict you from doing that. To be able to create chart of account, you can see that it's only admin. So I can add multiple people here. I can say, okay, to be able to create, I can just add Daniel Williams and the admin. You can see both of them have the function. And a situation whereby maybe you just have a small team, maybe one or two people that manages the account, what you can do is you want to give them access beyond just chart of accounts. There are other things that they can do here. There's budget. Who do you want to create, view, edit? So you have to carefully look at these places in your system. Would you want to view budget items, requisitions? Would you want to be able to view posting, indirect posting, request form? So you can give more access. Since you can see request form, practically nobody have access. I can give admin access to request form. I can give admin access. So why am I doing it like this? Yes, because I just want to be specific. If I want to extend it to everyone, let's say I want admin to be able to do everything. I can just click on this, click on extend. Once I click on extend, I can now extend every single row. If I click on here and then I go down, whether I select one person or multiple people, once I click on this and save, automatically I've extended every single row. Admin has access to every row. So here I can just simply add one more person if I want. So these parts are very important so that you can create a lot of restrictions so that people don't do what you don't authorize them to do. So this place is very important. At the end of the day, by the time you are done, we come to financial year. So at this point, every single school who haven't started migrating to the new session, they will notice that the most recent session will be 2024-2025, right? Now, we need to be able to create a new session. Now, let's go to, so at this point, it's still the admin that will do that. So if you come in here, just a moment, admin, set school setup, go to manage session. So we're going to create a new session, 2025, 2026. So this is a new session, right? So we're adding a new session here. So once we've added a new session here, by default, the system inherits this as a new session, right? However, if I come to finance, go to setup, and we'll go to financial year now. So we have a new one, right? Which is the 2025-2026. Do I want to migrate to it yet? I can decide to migrate to it yet. Do I not want to migrate? It depends on the choice. So at this point, we are still in the old session because I also want to show us how we can create invoicing prospects. So looking at this now, normally let's assume this is like this, I can now click on this. You can now see the terms. At this point, by default, it's first term, right? After that, it moves to second, and then it moves to third. So here, I'm not doing anything. If I want to activate this one, I can click on this, and then once I click on this, and then I can activate it. So you can see that the current session now is the new session, but I don't want to go here yet. Let me go back to the old session, the one I'm still working with. So it's back, it's active now. So these basic setups are very important. And the final one is account heads. So if you notice here, I've been able to create different account heads. Every single account head here have their unique purposes. For instance, account head for admissions. So to create account head is very simple. If you click on new account head, of course, you have to choose the name. Is it nursery fee? Because normally when you are planning, some schools may say, you know what, we want to be able to separate secondary fee, primary fee, and early years fee. Some people may say we want to just call it school fees for everyone. Some people may also want to separate boarding as a complete different account head. They want, once they go to boarding, they should be able to see what is in boarding. It depends on your planning and your choice. So here, I only have secondary set up in this training portal. However, you can create more. I can decide to add nursery fee, which is a different fee type. So which roles do I want? There's a role-based access to this. I want admin, and I also want the finance manager to be able to view this. Now, under which chart of account head? So like I said, you must have done your setup. The video is available. Just we'll go through it so you understand it well so that we don't spend so much time here trying to do all the setups. You can pick maybe the school fees receipt as the account head. Look closely here, the account types. There is fee. For an item like a fee, I'm going to choose fees. There is admissions. So whenever I'm doing any admission head setup, I use admission. If it's store item, I use store. Post-entrance, most people don't use this. For people who do post-entrance exams, like Loyola and the rest, so they use this part whereby they do another setup for post-entrance exam and also acceptance. Then we have the wallet, the parent's wallet, right? This is also a different account head. We have Impress, which also works with pocket money as well. It's a different account head. We have transcript for people who charge parent for transcript. There's a different account head so that you can carefully track your transcript financial activity. We have for salary, which is definitely the payroll system. We have for services, which works on non-school invoicing. We have for Form Fair, a different account head. We have Talk Shop, we have cooperative, and then we have the Impress sales. So this one now is going to be a fee item. Then you pick your currency. So you can pick any currency. Our system supports all currencies, but our payment gateway currently supports only Naira. So you can choose all currencies. If you want to accept, let's say there's a payment they pay in dollars. They are traveling. You want to create a new account head for excursion. You can call it excursion. Create, and they are paying in dollars and pounds. You just create the account head in pounds. As they're making their payments, you are reconciling it in pounds. So you can clearly know how much they paid and how much it is. So you can pick Naira here. Now, when you see correspondent, when payments happens here, you may want to have 3, 4, 5 people in your team that you want them to receive an email or a notification, because the whole idea of educare is decentralization. You may have different people, let's say family school, mom, dad are running the school, children are abroad, schooling and everything. You may also want to get them involved. You can put their emails here. When transactions are coming in, they are aware, or you also have a finance team and the rest. Everybody is notified. At some point, depending on the number of your students, you may start getting quite too much. So you may probably have to remove some people if you want, or you may not even add it at all. So to add a new one, just click on add correspondent, put in the name, let's say Botex, and you put in the name Botex at gmail.com. Let me use Gmail, and then you just save. So automatically you can see that we've added another one. So every single financial activity, they'll be getting it. If I don't want anybody or somebody said, no, this email is too much, I don't need to be tracking every single sale, I can remove it. It's just that simple. Once this is done now, next thing is pick payment gateway. We've already set up SweetChat. So our focus only is on switch app. So here you can click on this, pick on gateway and pick on switch app. That's all. Now, for people who said we don't want online payments, nobody should pay online. It's very simple. You can change the mode. By default, it shows online. It allows online payment. Once you click on this, it changes to offline payment. So at the point of payment, you can put your instruction. Pay to this Zenith Bank and then put in all your details. So that clears it. So you don't need online payment. But in a case whereby you need online payment, of course, which is very good and also very seamless, click on this. Once you click on this, you can now select switch app. It's already set up from the API details. Now look at this closely. We have part payment. So for schools who wants to run full online payment, our system gives you the capability to automate part payment. So let's say you've already set maximum part payment for every parent is 3, meaning that at the point of payment, the system compels the parent. This time around, it's not, when you use technology, you drive some changes that to avoid too many human interaction. So when at the point of payment, the system will tell you how many times do you want to pay? Do you want to pay full, which is always recommended, or do you want to pay part? However, you already have only maximum of 3 instrumental options. So you can set 5, you can set 6, you can set 1, you can set 2, you can set 4. So it just all depends. You can set 3, you can set 2. So if you introduce all these settings, at the point of payment, they will see that the school has given that consensus. If you can't pay all, you can pay part. However, the part payment is fully tracked by the system. There's no manual intervention here. So when you pay, let's say a bill of 400,000, you pay 250,000, right? You will see that the invoice will show you not cleared. When you come back, you will see that there's still a balance of 150,000, which is still automated. So you just have to pay. Once you pay it, at that point is where you will get your full receipt. I hope this is clear. So at this point, if I pick, let's say, let me put it at 3. Let me put it at 3, and then you select bank. At this point, if you have so many other banks, you will see the bank options here. Let's say this particular nursery fee, I want it to settle to nursery account. So at this back office, parents don't see it. The system handles that settlement automatically. The settlement is T+1, meaning that all payments that come in today will settle in your account tomorrow at 4 p.m. That is how it works. So this is actually regulated by the CBN. So it's standard for online payments. So if you pick your bank, here we only have one bank, but if you can have your nursery, primary, and all these banks. So by the time you click on it here, another good thing about online payments is this. When you are, for schools who allow payment to their non-direct bank account, sometimes parents pay with company names that even takes you up to 3-4 months to start reconciling. But the good thing about online payment is by the time they pay into the system takes their details and settles to the bank. So whenever you're looking at your bank statement, you will know that Mr. Amodu made this payment. So it's very, very easy to reconcile if you want to reconcile or doing audit in the bank. So at this point, I'm going to save this. So we've created a new account head here called the nursery fee. And the people that have access to this is the admin and the finance manager. And the settlement account is this bank. I can decide to delete, I can decide to edit. So I've already created for salary, for store, for wallet. If you want to pay salary, you must create an account head salary. If you want to work with the store, you must create an account head store. Store manages both store and warehouse. If you want to handle wallet is also very good. Parents' wallet, where parents can deposit money and then spend from there for the school. They can do it. Impressed for pocket money, very important, and then the service invoices. So at this point, we are done with the setup. Remember, this part of the system is not available for, most of the time is the super admin, the EDs that does this part, or maybe this senior head of accounts. It's not available for any other part of the team because they are very sensitive. Any adjustment that happens here can actually affect the school significantly. So normally it doesn't even appear on their roll during setup. They only see what the rest of the items. So the first thing is, let's create an invoice. I don't want to come to discount yet, but let's create an invoice. But before we create an invoice, let's try to create an invoice on this account head, this new account head that we created, nursery fee. If you come in here, you notice that everywhere is empty. Income, we have expected amount is 0, completed amount is 0, and debit. So these are baseline analysis. We're going to go more deeply into more analysis. So at this point, everything looks 0. Total fees, issue discount, claim discounts, total installment. Nothing is showing, everything is 0. Now, our current session is 2024-2025. Now, remember we have 2 sessions active here. So because we are still operating in current session, everything looks here. By the time you make the new session live and you make it active, by default, it will show you the new session, which you can always switch. Or I want to go back to the old session. So for schools who have been with us for like 11 years, you will see so many other sessions available, right? We want to create a fee for this class. Let's say there are some children that we want to give some discount. We know how our discount works. We have sibling discount, we have third child discount, we have parent discount, we have scholarships. Scholarships, we create it as a discount and call it 100% discount. So it depends on what we want to do, right? Now, for us to be able to achieve this, if you click on discount, let's create a discount type. I've already created sibling discount. I can create, let's say, family discount, or let's say third child discount. It's a third child discount. So this is, in every third child, we give them a certain discount. So this account head, which account head am I looking at? I want to put it under nursery fee because that's where I want to focus on, right? Now, the next thing is the discount scope. We have the invoice scope and the item scope. So the invoice scope means this discount is going to apply on the entire invoice. That is the invoice scope. It's going to appear on the entire invoice, meaning that if the total invoice is, let's say, 1 million, the discount I'm going to apply is going to apply on the entire invoice, which is the invoice scope, right? Now, if I want item scope, if I click on item scope, the system is going to apply. So let's say I want to pick, because I have some items in secondary. If I click on this, I want to apply this invoice only on tuition, right? So I'm giving you 5% on tuition only. So when I give you 5% on tuition, meaning that this discount I'm going to apply is going to apply only on tuition. If I want it to apply on the entire invoice, I'll just pick invoice scope. So it doesn't matter whether it's tuition, any amount is it, he applies it on that invoice. That is the way it works. So you need to be very careful on how we manage and handle this part. So let's say, for instance, let me even do second. So I want to do item scope because I want to explain how this works. And I'm giving you a discount on just tuition. And now at this point, by default, it shows percentage. So this discount, should I make it a percentage, let's say 5% of your tuition, 2% of your tuition, or should I make it an exact amount, meaning that I'm just giving you a discount of 100,000. So let me make it 5% of your tuition. Discount is 5% of your tuition, right? Now, remember, if you click on this, it goes to exact fee, which is amount, it will now be 5 naira. If I click on this, it will switch to percentage. So now, once I'm done, I'm not picking any proceeding discount. Once I click on this, I've already added a new discount, which is third child discount. And it is an item scope discount and it's on tuition. At this point, no child is here. No child is here. 0, right? I've not linked any child to this particular discount, right? So what I'm going to do is I need to link a child to this discount. So remember, I have to switch to secondary fee because I've already created items there. If I click on link, I'll show you how items are created. If I click on links, high school, select the level. Let's say I want to do for year 7. In this year 7, there's already another child that I've already introduced a discount for, the sibling discount class, and then you can see the number of children in the class. I can start drilling more if I have more classes and the rest. Now I'm going to select the discount type, third child discount. So in this third child discount now, if you have boarding, you can start sorting either boarding or non-boarding, day, fully, weekly. All these things are part of your or initial onboarding. Here, I'm selecting the children. If I click on this non-selected, it will show me the people in that class. So I have Onibaje Echo. If I click on this now, I want to only apply it to this person, this third child discount. So there will be a discount on this person in their tuition. So what is the maximum usage? So this discount, is it once? Is it twice? Is it 3 times? If I say once, meaning that once we generate the invoice and it applies, the whole thing is already expired. If I say twice, meaning that this is due to apply the next time another invoice happens. If I leave it blank, what it means is it will always apply at every point in time. So that means it's standard for this child. So I don't have to leave it blank. Let me make it 3 times and then I'll link it. So once I link it now, if I come back to manage discount, you will notice that I've already linked a child here, which is 1. And if I click on this, you can carefully see that this child have maximum usage of 3, number of usage 0, and is available, right? And this is a third child discount. You can create multiple discount types. You can, as much as you want, based on what works and what works for your school. You can also delete. You can also delete this, right? Now, the discount, I've created the first discount. Secondly, some people may say, we've already generated invoices. How do we apply the discount that we've already generated invoices? Should we have to delete and recreate again? No, you don't have to. So I'm going to show you how that one works. Then I'm also going to create a fresh invoice and also show you how it works. I've already created an invoice before now for Onibaje Echo. If I click on this and click on not cleared, I will see the invoice. This is the invoice I created for this child. School tuition, development fee, information technology, and the total is this. If you notice, we didn't apply any discount here. But now, without deleting and recreating again, let me apply to this child. I'm going to close this. Here, I will click on compute discount. Remember, compute discount. Once I click on compute discount, the system will look for is there any discount available or attached to this child. If there is, the system will apply it. So the system will search for discount, and the system have found one, and the system have applied the discount. So if I click on OK now, notice what happens now. Tuition, there is now a discount, a 5% discount, which is 20,000 for the tuition, which is 400,000. At the end of the day, you can see the third child discount, which is on tuition, has been captured for this child. The total is this, and the grand total is this, right? So this is how it works. If you notice, it only applied for this child. It didn't apply for every other child. If I refresh now, you notice that it only applied for this child. It didn't apply for this. This one already have their own discount. This two doesn't have any form of discount. If you notice now, the issued discount is already at 60,000, right? That is the issued discount, but nothing has been claimed. When there is an actual payment, you will now see the actual claim discount. So now let's create an invoice. Remember, if we come back to discounts here, let me show you something. If we come back here and go to discount, the system will tell you that one has already been used. You can see it. Maximum is 3. Number of uses is 1, right? So meaning that we have 2 more slots. Let's create an invoice. Creating an invoice is very simple. Let's go to secondary fee. It's very, very simple. The first thing you need to do, I believe a lot of people must have known how to do this part. The first thing is very simple. Go to bill setup. Once you go to bill setup, you do your basic setup. You put in your address. This is your school address here. Put in your school address, put in the school phone number. So these are the things that will show on that invoice. Account email. This is the email for the finance department. Then you pick your color. You can change color. I can change to this color. I can change to this. I can change to this. It depends on the color you want, right? So once you change, let me change to green. Once you change, you put in your logo. By default, it's inherited, but you can change your logo. Once you do it and you save, the system inherits that color, right? So this becomes your color. So if I go to, let me go back here. So let me show you before I continue. If I come back here to see invoices, automatically it takes the new color. You can see it, right? So this is how you do it. If you don't have, you can also mix colors if you want. So these are basic setups. So if I go to bill setup, then you do all those setups and everything. Once you are done, the next thing is let's go to bill setup. The first bill setup is let's create categories. In creating categories, if you click on add, to do it, you have to click on add. Once you click on add, we have different categories. We have category types, which is iterative and cumulative. So looking at this, let me open an invoice. Okay, look at this invoice. Now, observe this. This is an iterative invoice, an iterative category, meaning that the name of this head is school fees. There is no bill attached to it, but there are sub-items there. You see tuition, you see development levy, you see information technology, and all the costs, all costs attached to the fee items, right? Now, if we come back here and we want to create, let's say, sport, should I do sports? Normally, I like to use capital letters here, sports, and I want to make it cumulative. What it means is we are not going to have sub-items there. Once I click on sports, it's going to be a category, a base category with also a base item attached. So at this point, I can also create a sub-field called sports, and under sports, that's all. Account head associated to it, school fees, school fees, that's secondary fees. I can link this to nursery fees, meaning that it's going to be reporting under nursery fees. Once I'm done with this, I click on add. So here, at this point, I'm done. So let's quickly create bills. I'm going to create a new bill. Here, so this place is very important we pay attention because we are creating for the next term. So the term I'm creating for is first term. Invoice title is, you can by default, we've already preloaded with first term, second term, third term, and the rest. You may choose to, I can pick first term, or you may choose to call it something else. I can call it, let's say, first term GSS1, GSS2, it depends, or GSS3. So, but let me leave it here, but I can always name it anything I want. So I can click on cancel. Now, normal invoices is if I'm creating, let's say I'm in first term, I'm creating for second term, meaning that everybody that is in that first term is expected to be in the same class for second term. So because of that, I don't need to bother about it. But this is third term, we are creating for first term, meaning that everybody's going into, most people are going into a new class. And I don't even know the classes, right? So now I'm going to click on this, and it will give me an option, select expected school. So at this point, of course, I only have high school here. Then I'm going to click expected level, meaning that, observe this, the people in year 7 here, by the time I'm going to select them, are going to move to year 8. So if I'm creating for year 7, I should select expected level to be year 8. Please be very careful with this. Expected level will be year 8. And by the time I'm going to select it, I'm going to select year 7. Expected class, of course, I can pick any class here. It depends on the available classes. By the time I'm done, remember, I'm creating an invoice expecting for year 8. So I'm selecting level year 7. I can select class if I want. I can drill down. I have only 4 children here. And then click on select student. Once I click on select student, I will see them. I want to select everybody in this class. So you'll see some people have discount, like Wiki Rita has discount, Onibaje Eko has discount, and the 2, Digo Amanda doesn't have. So if I click on select all, I have 4 people. Notice what I did. Once I clicked on select all, I went to click on this empty space. Once I clicked on this empty space, it went off. It is very important. For normal school, the list probably will be very long. Once you click on this, make sure you click on the empty space here so that this goes off before you do the next thing, which is add group to list. Once you click on add group to list, click on it once. Once you click on it once, you notice what happens. If you mistakenly click on it multiple times, it will create multiple invoices of this type of invoices. So what you have to do is, in case you mistakenly clicked it multiple times, just delete and delete. That's all. And then you can just want to see them. Click on details. You will see the children and their classes that you are creating. At this point, you click on proceed to invoice. Remember, we've already created those fee items. We only created tuition, development levy, and we created information technology. under the category school fees, there is a new category we have here called sports. If I click on it, you'll see another fee item called sports. Please observe this. So here I can say, okay, tuition, let me say 580,000. Look at how the system does the computation. Development levy, let's say 190,000. And information technology, 210,000. So this is the actual fee. I mean, depends on other fee items. So what happens here is I may decide, you know what, let me save this. Let me create this as a template. So that next time, if I'm generating invoices for year 2, I don't need to start typing and all those things. I can just quickly select and then move. So meaning that if it takes me 3 minutes to generate my invoices, with this, it can actually take me less than 1 minute. So if I click on save as favorites, I can name it year 7 fees, year 7 fees. Let's say I can even introduce this section. Year 7 fee, let me leave it at this section, year 7 fees. So once I click on year 7 fees, system have already saved it for me as year 7 fees. At any point in time whereby I click on this, the system will do what? Pick year 7 fees. Remember, I talked about 2 categories, right? Iterative and cumulative. Let me still go back here and pick another new category, which is sports. This time around, once I click on sports, I want to be able to say price is 50,000. Now, look at what will happen. So we're about to generate the invoice. The grand total is 1,030,000. So do you want to add invoice notes? For people who doesn't use online payments, or even if you use, some people give extra instruction, all payments must be done online, and anything outside of online will not be accepted. You know, some of these things that must be done, anything that must be done online, and blah, blah, blah. So all those things, we can add them, right? Then we can centralize them. You can make them bold. You can make them italics. You can centralize them, organize them. So all those things, you can do them here. By the time this is done, the next thing is, do you want to allow instrumental payment in this bill? It is your choice. By default, if you put it as part of the settings, the system will inherit it, meaning that the system recognizes instrumental payment. If you miss to put it there, you can also activate it here. How many do I want? Maximum of 1, 2, 3, or any of these options. You can do it. Now, append previous bill arrears. So people who have been using this, you have people who are owing for last term, right? And you are creating an invoice for this term. Once you activate this, once the system is generating this invoice, it goes to bring the past debts that they are owing and append it to this new invoice. So that one becomes invalid and this one becomes. So even in those people's invoices, you will now see a new item called previous term invoice, previous term or arrears, which it will bring forward. So once they pay in the new term, it will also go back and clear that one. So the system have that. Wallet balance. Do I have money in my wallet? If there's money in wallet, system should be able to take it as I'm generating this invoice. If not, system should be able to ignore it. I can activate it, I can leave it. So meaning that at any point in time when I'm generating invoices, system should be able to take money from wallet. Also, some people who have money in their interest top-up, should I take money from their interest top-up? Schools will say, you can't be owing the school and have money in your wallet or have money in your interest. So we should be able to take all the money. Our system has that capability. So now, by the time you are done, the last thing is click on generate. Once you click on generate, remember, this in the actual sense doesn't take time. Because I've been explaining, it looks as if it takes time, it doesn't. So at this point in time, if I click on view invoices, no badge, please try again. I think it's still generating. So yes, so in situations like this, thank God this happened. There may be situations whereby you try to generate, you experience something like this, right? Now, if you refresh, let's say I refresh, I'll check, and I didn't see the invoice. If I refresh here again, this invoice was not generated. Beautiful. Let me go back again and regenerate this invoice. And at this point, thank God I've already saved my payment as a template. I'll come back here, pick first term, pick this, because I know some schools at the point may have experienced something like this. So this is how I'll handle it. I'll pick year 7. This is exactly what I did earlier before now. So this is actually the real practice. You can see the speed I'm using to do this. Now I'm picking it from favorite. I'm doing this. So automatically everything has been pre-filled here. Yes. All payments must be online. Then, and let's assume I don't need any of these things. And the next thing is generate. If I click on generate, now the system has generated, right? So what I did in situations like this is, remember, I normally save the template so that in case there's anything, I don't have to keep refresh. I don't have to keep retyping everything. So I already have my template there. So with this now, if I click on view, I can now see the invoice. So you notice that the invoice has been generated for everybody. We have 4 people in the class. You'll see them here. So what you notice is for this particular child, right, we only applied 5% on this bill, which is 29,000 on only tuition. And this is the total bill. The same class, different bill. This particular person again this particular person is Wiki. This particular person has a discount on the whole invoice. Remember, this one you see tuition, third child discount. This one has discount on the entire invoice. The same class, but the bill is different, right? The system recognizes it. This time around, Wiki has exhausted her discount option. The last one is this, 931. Look at Udigwe. Udigwe doesn't have any form of discount. You can see the bill. And this other person doesn't have any form of discount. You can see the bill. It's the same class, different children, different invoices based on the discount, and then you can see the final outcome. So if I come back here, if I click on publish, parents will be notified that the invoice is available and they can start making payment. They can pay online. I will also show you. So I have to publish this. We can also see how the online payment works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this. I'm also going to create an invoice with much lower amount. I will publish this. I'll create an invoice with much lower amount. I will log in as a parent. I will also make payment because it's also very important that we see how this works. So now, let me create another invoice. So normally I like to refresh to ensure that it gives me a very new state. So click on this first term. I'm still going to create invoice in prospect. I'm still going to do year 8 and this. I can come here and pick year 7. I'm still going to do for everyone in the class. I can pick for one person if I want. So I'm doing for everyone. I click on this place. I add group to lists. I come here. So this time around, I'm not going to say this as, I'm going to call it 500, 500, and let's say 200. That's if I want to. I may decide not to do it anyway. So here, I'm going to do 1,200, right? So there's something I want us to observe. When we are, because schools, a lot of schools make this mistake. If you ever want to allow online payments, please, based on experience and high recommendation, do not let your parents bear the charges. And I'll show you where we do the settings. Do not let your parents bear the charges. Once any parent sees 50 naira extra, 100 naira, 2,000 cap extra, there's always this conflict. That is why some people who have tried to do online payments, they never succeed. Why so many other people who are doing it 100% and they are succeeding. Ensure that, let's say, information technology fee, you can embed 10,000 in the fee so that you've already captured the cost of the charges with even profit. So by the time parents wants to see, they will see 1,200. They will be happy. Okay, the system is charging me 1,200. Every parent will definitely want to make online payment. But if they see with the charges too, let's say you will see how it will appear. You will start noticing that a lot of parents will start fighting you that the charges is too much. I work in CBN, blah, blah, blah. So you see a lot of all these things. So it's important that you understand it and infuse it as part of your bills before you publish. If you miss this part, I can guarantee you that you will have conflict with quite a number of your parents. So this is how online payment actually works. This part is very critical. So in part of your fee planning, you need to be able to decide, do you want it? If you want it, look for any of your fee items, embed like 10,000, meaning that there's no amount of charges that can get up to 10,000. It's not possible, even if they do multiple payments, right? So that you can be sure that you've covered that part. So once this is done, you generate the invoice. I've generated this, I'll publish. So I'll publish and I'll look for any of the 7 parents and then log in and let's make payment. So here, let me go to, so if I come to that one, you'll definitely still see the payment here, the bill here. There's new bill sets here, right? Everything shows unpaid, right? So now, once I go to parent, let me look for a year 7 parent, and this is with the way, let me check wiki. Let me do wiki. Year 7, yes. So if I log in as wiki, you'll see. So why am I logging in like this? Because I have the sudo access. Well, by the time they log in either with their mobile phones or with their anything, automatically they will see this, right? So they'll see that they are owing 932. That's a cumulative of everything they are owing. They have no money in the wallet. You'll see here that there are 2 bills. Remember, these are the bills that are published. If you go to this bill now, this 931, the parents can click on not paid and the parents will see the bill and the discounts that have been availed to the parent, right? And see the instruction, all payments must be online, right? So here I can go back here. The parent can say, okay, I want to pay this bill, 1,200. I will click on proceed to pay. Remember, proceed to pay. I will finish the online payment. I'll still come back here and show you how a parent can also pay for offline, meaning that they have transferred the money to your Zenith Bank and they want to report it here, rather than sending email or sending WhatsApp and getting everything fully disorganized because they refuse to pay online. So if I click on pay, so this is what will happen. At this point, I can see my breakdown of what I'm paying for, and I'll click on pay now. So system will ask me to confirm. So remember, I did not choose the school to bear the charges. I choose the parent to bear the charges, which here is where the chaos normally comes in. If I click on confirm, and at this point I click on secure payment with switch app. Switch app is going to take me to the payment end, and it's going to show me this. So remember, when I was setting up this, I allowed instrumental payment option. So meaning that if I click on I want to pay, by default, system will pop this up for me. I can decide to say proceed with full payment. If I click on partial, it will ask me how much do you want to pay. Remember, the system have already tracked that the maximum number I can pay is 3. Meaning that no matter how I want to, I can decide to pay 500 to 200, and the minimum amount I can pay in this is 120 for partial payment. But let me pay full, right? If I click on this and click on proceed with full, remember it was 1,200, but because of the charges, right, the system is showing me 1,518. By default, the system picks up your location, right? So now, if you say 1,518, which is actually the cost, I can choose to pay. How do I want to pay? I can pay with card, which I can just put in my card details, payment, and everything is done. Or I can choose to pay with any of the other options, which is bank transfer or Flutterwave. So I can preferably let me do bank transfer. Once I click on bank transfer, the system will generate a bank account for this purpose. So at this point, let me bring in, you can see, switch up wiki. So it will pick you to carefully show the parent their name, and then you'll see educare testing account. So at this point, let me log into my app. Once I log into my app, I'm going to make payments. So, and the account is showing me is MoneyPoint. So sometimes it's dynamic. Today is MoneyPoint, tomorrow is Sterling. It just all depends on the bank that is going at the point. These are automated accounts that educare have set up. So now, this is another thing we need to observe. A lot of parents make mistake in this part. When a system shows you, you must pay 1,518, parents must actually pay. That's why we have to bring it out in 2 ways, here and here. So if you pay anything less than that, if partial payment is enabled, the system will accept it. And then it will still show you that you are owing. If not, the system will decline. Sometimes the system will want to send back the money to you because that is the default setting. And the one is trying to send back the money to you, maybe your bank failed. At that point, the system, the money will not go to the parent, and the parent is complaining that I have paid, but my distance is not there. By the time you check, you realize that the parents didn't pay complete. There's also a part of switch app that I will show you where those kind of issues arise, how you can easily resolve it without even reaching out to us. So here, once I click on proceed, I'm a parent now, I'm about to pay my child's school fees, or I'm buying an item from store, which I'm going to show you too. So at this point, if I click on this and then click on, I've already made transfer. Once I made the transfer, I'll click on I have completed transfer. So the system tells me that it happens between 2 to 20 minutes, but sometimes it happens almost immediately. Like this case now, you can see that it happened immediately. So the payment has been confirmed and everything has been sorted. Once I click on return to dashboard, notice what will happen. Have you noticed it? System have honored my payment. My receipts have been shipped to me. My receipt is available. If I click here now, I can see my receipt is available on my email. No form of human interference. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., this money is going to come into my account. Very simple. No human interference, no explanations. This is how seamless online payments can be. And when it's settling in my account, excuse me, when it's settling in my account, you are going to see the name Wike Rita. Whether you pay through your business account or not, it doesn't matter. It's going to settle. Just a moment. Let me take water, please. You're going to see Wike Rita in your bank statement, meaning that SwitchUp have already sent this name to the bank. Excuse me, to identify the payment. Now, this is done. In a situation whereby your school says, we don't want online payment, we want our parents to pay to the bank, we don't want to pay the charges, we see those kind of cases, right? We've also created a system to make it a little bit more easier. Online payment, most recommended, very seamless. Of course, there are charges, but super seamless, and there is zero theft possibility because all payment that comes in here must settle in your school approved account. So there's absolutely no possibility of theft, right? Now, assuming that payment has been done to Zenith Bank, so rather than telling parents to send email, log into your portal, come into this place, which is under bills and stuff, click on offline payment. So when a parent clicks on offline payment, right? So the next thing is upload your evidence. I can upload my evidence. What am I paying for? I'm paying for my child, Wiki Rita. You can see it here. The invoice selected is 931. That is the only invoice that I'm owing. Choose my evidence. I'm choosing my evidence. I don't even know what this picture is. No, this is 2 MB. It's too large. Okay, so let me leave this. Let me use this. And then bank source, I paid via Zenith Bank. By default, when I upload my evidence, probably a bank receipt or any of this, account number, if I want to add, let's say 90, and then account name is test parent, and amount is this. This is the amount I paid. If I paid anything less, I can also change the figure here, right? Now, and transaction date was done today. Okay, I have paid Wiki's first term fees. So I've paid Wiki's first term fees. So at the end of the day, once I'm done, I click on upload. So at this point, I'm uploading my evidence to the school. So that is all they need. So rather than using the WhatsApp, it's taking so long, should try again. Rather than using the WhatsApp to be able to, or the email and getting things disorganized, let me try this again. You can simply use this. So offline payment, let me try again. Let me not pick this. Choose, let me do something like a light. No, let me use this. a lighter note, bank source, let me put bank, and amount today this. Let me just do this. And then I upload, sorry, I can't do this. The input account name, okay. Okay. Um, okay. Let's check. Okay, I'll find out what happens here. So ideally, once this is updated now, the school can now go to their back office. And once they go to their back office, they can simply reconcile this payment without any form of involvement. So you see the online payment is automated. You can see the offline payment. I'll find out what happened this and then I'll rectify it. So with this now, the payment cycle is completed. So you've seen how payments happen here. So I'm going to go back again to admin. So I'm going to go back to admin. So going back to admin, just a moment. Going back to admin, I'm going to go back again to finance. And then you can see that if I go back to invoice center and I go to the secondary fee, you will notice now, so this is the back office. I can see that a payment was made by Wikirita. So even the admin back office, they are not doing anything. Their own is they can always verify. In situations whereby somebody said they paid, he can always verify. If I go to switch app, so at this point, I can go to switch app, control, sorry, not this one. If I go to switch app, just a moment. If I go to switch app on that account head, remember, some schools don't release, I mean, depends on who have access. A payment has come in here, which is this payment. If I go to payment on switch app, I will also see that payment, right? And if I click on this, I can see the payment, what happened, the charges, and everything. So this is available on your school switch app. You can see the settlement, and you can see that this processing is waiting to be processed. This will be settled the next day, right? You can see the source, you can see everything, the time is paid. A situation whereby parent says, I made payment, will not rectify, just get the parent's email, copy the email, place it here, and then search. Every single payment the parents have made, you can be able to see it here. It's just that simple, right? So with this, the entire online payment cycle has been completed. So I believe with this, everybody can generate their invoices for next term seamlessly, and whether physical or non-physical payment. Now, there's something else. Some schools may say, if you notice here, if I click on this, you have the possibility of updating this manually, right? It is good, but it also exposes fraud can actually come, especially when you are running full online payment. Some schools may say, you know what, we don't want any form of human interaction. Just generate your invoices. Let all payments be fully automated. Nobody should be able to tamper with anything. It's all full online payment. We see such cases. So this is how to block off this. From the super admin who have access, come in, go to your settings. Then there is this option called, just a moment. The option is enable manual confirmation. So by default here is enabled. If I click on this now, I have disabled it. So if I go back to finance now, go back to invoice center, come back to this. At this point, nobody can be able to do any manual confirmation on invoices. You can see it is empty. All payments must be online, must be paid online, and must be reconciled online. So no form of interaction. So there's absolutely not going to be any form of fraud here. So, but it's a super admin, meaning that the people that are going to manage the finance will have very limited access. They can't have access to anything settings, right? Based on your setup, the system helps you to handle that part. So it eliminates fraud, right? So a situation whereby some schools who are probably still doing manual or they still don't mind, let me put it on again. Let me put it on again. Manual confirmation, I'll put it on yes. Then also before I leave here, when I talked about the charges, who do you want to bear the charges? By default, is customer, which is parent. If I click on this now, it's already switching it to the school. So you want the school to bear the charges, but definitely you are going to add it to your view, which is basically what I recommend. So at this point, if I come back in here, I go to secondary bills, and you can see the bills. If I click on this again, it will give you option to clear manually. So I can decide to clear this manually. At this point, they have paid. Somebody came into the school desk, I've paid, show me your proof. I have it. Your method of payment, you did bank transfer, or you did a check or a draft. Your bank, which bank did you pay to? So by the time we list all our banks, we can be able to capture it. Sterling Bank, and then unique reference. Either you pick the reference on the receipt or you just click on this to generate a reference. The system automatically generates a reference. You confirm the date. Was it paid today or was it paid yesterday? It was paid yesterday on Monday. You can pick on Monday and the time. Once you pick it, and then you click on confirm. So with this, the system has already confirmed the payment. This is manual confirmation. The difference is you see that there is an appending of CO. CO means manual confirmation on educare. If you notice this one, if I want to, like, let's say there's an issue we want to reconcile. If I come in here, look at the payment that was fully made online. Firstly, if I click on this and go to pay, so you will see that there's SWP on the reference, SWP, latest payment rep. You see SWP. Here, you will see CO before SWP. This shows that it was manually collected. And if I click on this now, I can even see more detail, right, on that particular payment. The system captures everything. If I click on this here too, these are for confirmations as well. I can also see all the other details, right? This is for online payment. The transaction was successful. Payment method switch up. This particular payment method, for the other one, the payment method is not switch up. The payment method is, so this is for, which particular invoice is this? Okay, this one is for switch up, sorry. Let me look for the manual one. So this for the manual one. If I click on it, the payment method is Sterling Bank, which is payment method is bank, which is manual. This was a manual transaction. We clearly print it out here. So with this, we've been able to get some insights. Now, a situation whereby you mistakenly created invoices. You created invoices. I needed to delete some. I made mistake. I need to delete it. Now we have bill batches. In the past, what we did before is once any payment is done on any bill batch, you can retrieve the bill batch. But now we introduce a pseudo function called delete, force delete, meaning that we can delete the entire invoice even while a payment has been done, right? Because an online payment, you can't revert it. So now that is one. Secondly, this particular batch I created, I mean, there's no item here. I can just retrieve it. Or this particular one I created earlier, I can retrieve it. So this one, let me retrieve it. No payment has been done here. If I click on retrieve, I will click on retrieve here. The system will retrieve the invoices. You can see it here. Or I've already created these invoices, but I didn't publish because I wanted us to do final verification. By the time you are done and you want parents to start paying, once you click on publish, so here is by default is published because I published there. I can unpublish, like this one, I can unpublish. Once I unpublish, if you log in as a parent, you won't be able to see these invoices again, right? All of them are unpublished. But if I click on republish, the system will ask me, do I want to notify them by email? If I've done it before, probably I don't want to bug them with email. I can click on this, and then it will show me no email. But if I want to send them email, I can just click on it. It will show me email, and then I can publish. So with this now, you can see that we can generate these invoices. We can publish it ahead. So the system is republishing back on switch up. It's republishing back for everybody. So in a situation whereby you've already set that the parents should pay, and you've already published your invoice, and you wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I want the school to bear the cost. The simple thing is go to the batch of the invoice, unpublish and republish. Once you republish, at this point, let me show you something. Let's go to dashboard. Let's go to any of those payments. So these are the payments that I just republished. If I want to pay now, based on the direct invoice, remember the original bill is 980. At this point, when I'm about to pay, notice what happened. The system is showing me 980 because the people that are bearing the cost now is the school. So the parents will see 980, which is exactly what reflects on the invoice. In situations like this, you will never have any issue with online payments. So But the truth of the matter is, this bill has already been appended. Let's say in information technology, the actual cost is 200,000. I've already introduced the 10,000, which parents will never know. So by the time they are paying here, they are now paying seamlessly, right? A lot of people will love it. Online payment is always better, right? That is the truth of the matter. With this now, you will be very successful with online payment. So that is how it's being done. So coming back here, I have a lot of windows open. I think I need to close them. So I'm going to close these ones. Okay. I have a lot of tabs open. Okay, that's fine. So here, I've already made two payments here. One is online and another one is manual. So you can see that the payment I've made here is 2,375. Why am I having 25 claimed discount? Because this particular child, which is Onibaje Eko, I gave this child a 5% discount on their tuition. If I come in here, you will see that there's a 5% on their tuition. And their tuition at this point is, the 5% is 25 naira, which is system applied. I think this may even be the last discount that this person will have. So that is why you can see that we've already claimed 25 naira in the discount. There are no instrumental payments yet. If I make an instrumental payment, the system will capture it here, right? So with this, you can see total issue discount is 78,025 naira. I've already claimed 25 naira. This is the amount they are owing me. This is the amount I'm expecting, which I can use for planning. There are some base statistics. Total transactions today is 2. I can download this if I want. You can see it here. This week, this month, there's absolutely nothing that happened. So total number of payments received is 2. Invoices, total paid, total unpaid, total overdue. If I click any of these, I can download it. If I also want to download statement by range, I can pick the range from 1st of June to this day. Please help me download. I want to know people who have paid in year 8. I want to know people who have paid in year 8. Let's say I want to know in all year 8 classes, or just say a particular class. Or let's show me all the girls that have paid in year 8, please. If you click on this and click on download, the system will give you that information very quickly. Because I know that schools will normally need those kind of quick information. So we can easily get it from here. It's just that simple, right? I believe this part has been clear. Before I move on to, because this is actually quite comprehensive, I would like to take some questions so that we can clarify it before we can move on. Mr. Botex. Mr. Botex.
Yes, please.
Okay, please. So I would like to, let me look at the charts. Let me see if there are questions before we can move on.
Okay.
So let's start answering the questions before we can move on. Okay.
Okay, let me read through the charts.
Okay, somebody said, good morning. Okay, you took the word out of my mouth. How many invoices and categories is one going to generate? Okay, I've already answered it. You can generate as much as you want. It's your choice. You don't have any limit. Depends on your invoice. Then, good morning. The instrumental payment, can it be structured, or is it equal? So for the instrumental payment, it's not equal. You can structure it the way you want. So it can be random. A parent can decide, okay, on the 200,000 fee, I can pay 50,000 now, pay 80,000 tomorrow, and then pay the balance. I can even give them multiple options. But the good thing is, you can never get a full school receipt if your payment is not complete. The system will show you all your payments. And so there's something I want to do. Let me do some instrumental payment. I want to answer this question properly again using the manual collection. Let me do some instrumental payment, and let's even see how we can track it. A situation whereby even the person managing it has left the school. And we need to also track all these payments, right? Because it's not enough for us to just have this. Let me assume I want to accept a partial payment of this. Let me use a small amount. Let me even use this one. Udigwe Kamsi. Udigwe Kamsi actually paid manually, and I allowed us to collect money manually. First thing is this. I'm going to say, change instrumental payment slot for this bill. If I click on yes, it will ask me how many. I can decide to put 5. I can decide to put 2. I can always increase it even if they miss. If I click on this, save, the system will pop up here. You'll now see that I have 5 maximum instrumental options, right? Collect part payment, yes. This parent paid 200,000 as a deposit, 200,000 as a deposit, right? 200,000 as a deposit. Now, system will ask you, do you want to collect for a specific item? Some parents may say, this 200,000 I'm paying, I just want to pay it for tuition alone. I don't want to pay it for anything, right? Some schools don't even care. Most schools don't care. But some people may say, let me just pay it for development fee. I will pay for tuition later. You can now apply specifically to this particular bill item. If not, it will just automatically randomly pick. It's only applying on the entire invoice. So, right? So now I can just click on this. I don't want to do it on a specific item. Select payment method, bank, sterling. I select this, select the date. I can do, let's say today, so time. And now, remember, instrumental payment has been active. So confirm instrumental payment, yes. So once I click on this now, I want to pay this like 2 times. So firstly, there is an instrumental payment here. Wait, did I take full bill? Just a moment, please. I think I did full bill. I made a mistake. Sorry, I made a mistake. So let me redo it here, please. Let me redo it here. So I'll click here, 5, and save. Okay, let me close this part. And I'm paying here, I'm paying 100,000. And then I'll also show you some situation whereby I made this mistake. I'll also show you how we will correct it. So I'm paying bank, I'm paying this, I'm paying this, and the amount I'm collecting is 100,000, paying yesterday, and confirm instrumental payment, right? Okay. So now I confirm the instrumental payment. The system have collected a part payment of 100,000 from this bill, right? The total balance is this. So a situation whereby I made this mistake, because these are things that happens, right, on everyday usage. I made this mistake that have collected this money. I don't know what to do. So now it depends on how the school. So normally this kind of mistake shouldn't be corrected by the person making the mistake. There should be somebody who has bigger role and access, right? Who should be able to do it. And to do it, if you have, there's this thing called cash transactions. So if you go to cash transactions here, you will see every single payment activity is recorded here. You can see the last one from Udigwe, right? Which I collected 980,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record that payment. So remember, please, Henry, can you remove the annotation, please? Sorry, who is doing the annotation? Can you stop it, please? So now, at this point, I'm going to click on this detail. I'm going to record the payment. This was the payment and everything. So I'm going to revert this payment. So at this point, once I remember, you can't revert an online payment. You can only revert a manually collected payment. So if it's a case of an online payment, you can revert it. So here, if I go back to the dashboard, because this kind of mistakes happen, I'm glad I actually made the mistake so that we can also understand it. So here, remember, this payment I earlier collected it with DB, right? Now I've reverted it back to the original state. So this is how we revert it, right? You can even decide to withdraw this invoice if you want. So I've already collected 100,000 from this bill. If I pop this up, you will see that from this, so even if the person have left, it doesn't matter. If you come in here, you can see the collections. So this person paid 100,000 and the balance is 880, right? And the person have only 5 instrumental options. The person have already paid 1, right? Let me take another one again. Let me take another 150,000. Still on that same bill, I'm picking another 150,000. Another 150,000. And I'm picking this. Let's say the person actually paid today. And I'm picking this. And I'm confirming. Remember, the amount and the collected amount must tally. Confirmed amount is how much you actually collected, right? And if I click on this now, you'll notice that the system has taken now 250,000, right? Because I didn't specify where the money is taken from, it's randomly taking it. So it started from the tuition. So this person have paid 250,000 as part payment. The balance is 730. If I come in here from the admin back office, refresh here. If I come in here from the admin back office and come in here and click on this, you will notice that I am recording the collection sequence. The first time, the person paid on the 8th through bank statement, I collected 100,000. The second time, the person paid 150,000 on the 9th, which is the balance now is 730,000, right? Now, let me even collect another one, and then I won't collect everything. Okay, maybe I'll collect another one, then probably collect everything. Then I'll collect 500,000. 500,000. Yes, and then I'm collecting 500,000. Remember, there's a sequence of this collection, and the system is keeping track of it. Let me say the person paid today at 4 a.m. and then I confirm. So once I confirm, if you notice, the system has automatically completed the payment for the tuition. I've already taken a part payment for the development fee. You can see the way it's going in descending order, right? You can see now the total payment is 750,000. The balance is 230. At this point, if you come in here, you see that the parents still have slots. The parents still have an option. It still has I think 1 or 2 more slots. You can see at this point, you can see that instrumental payment data is already showing here. If I click on this, I can see that the parents have paid 100,000 first, 150,000 and 500,000. Let's now complete this payment, right? So this helps you to be able to track. And let me tell you, so situation whereby a parent will pay part payment and say, I want a receipt of my part payment, right? Let me show you how to generate the receipt. Once you click on this, right, the system will pop a receipt. So this second payment they made, the school is also giving you a receipt. You can print a copy. So your payment is this. This second part payment, we've already taken it for tuition and development fee. You can see the part payment receipt. If I close here, I come in here again, I can give you a part payment receipt of 150,000 again, of the one you paid earlier, and it went for tuition, and you can see what you paid, right? You can also come in here at the first instance, you can see this one too. So even when parents are paying part payments, the school can issue them part payment receipts. However, you can see receipt for instrumental payment is boldly written here. They can have it. But now we're about to make a full payment. So the main school receipt, you can see that is incomplete. It still shows not cleared. Let me close this. It still shows not cleared, right? Uncleared. So this is not a full receipt. So now, let's now clear this bill. You'll see how everything will change. Just a moment. So here, the balance is 230,000. 230,000. And I pick the bank, and I pick the source. I pick this. I come here. So I'm going to pay the money at, let's say, 6 a.m. 6:30. And then once I click on confirm, this is what's going to happen. The system is now going to understand, okay, this person has paid everything complete. So rather than giving an uncleared receipt, I'm going to give a full receipt. So right now, you can see the receipt with the child detail. Remember when we are setting up the address, 19 Yambra Close, Banana Island, training, school fees, head and everything. With this now, you can see that there's a full receipt, which shows thank you. You can download it, you can send me a WhatsApp, you can also print. The thing is available, right? Like I said, you can add as much items as you wish. There's no limitation. So if I come in here now, that particular receipt will now be marked as fully paid. You can see it, it can be marked as fully paid. So at any point in time, you can still click here to be able to see the payment sequence. So in case a parent wants to come and claim, or we may have some level of dispute. So at this point, whether the person that handles it is there or not, you can see how the system handles every single thing one after the other. I hope that makes sense. You can now see how the system carefully handles it. So all your instrumental payments are carefully tracked. So if it's online, the system also tracks it exactly like this. There's absolutely no limitation. If whether it's done online or not online, the system handles it carefully like this. So, but why do we discourage physical collections? We've experienced a lot of theft at different, even bank draft theft, collection theft, a lot of theft. That's why we strongly encourage parents to do online, schools to do online, because with online, you are guaranteed that there's absolutely no theft. So it is important that you do it, and it's a lot easier for them. Now, let me go to another question. I believe that's Mrs. Pepple. I believe I've been able to answer your question. And if you need
As,
more,
as
yeah.
you're going through the chat, Mr. Alex, I see Ms. Praise Alago's hand has been up. So
Okay,
can
so
we?
yeah, you can bring that up, but I need just give me like something. Let me just read through. Let me see if
All right, all right.
yeah.
So
Just bring that up.
there's a comment, Odunwariso, who is responsible for changing the template for invoices.
So that's why I say it depends on. So ideally, we know that in educare we have different roles. We have the super roles, then we have the sub roles. Depends on the way the schools are structured. Some schools are a lot more structured, right? But this, like the junior accountant, the third level accountant, sometimes even the head of account, they should have some limitations, right? So ideally, head of account should be able to change some things, but EDs should be able to do more, like some of these base setups, because at the end of the day, you don't want people to be able to tamper with some of these very important things, right? So the head of account or the directors, these are the ones, people that should be able to do some basic setups. That is why we super simplified it, right? It probably takes you maximum 30 minutes. Your setup is done for the entire year. But once you do it, you know that nobody is going to be allowed to be able to tamper with any of these settings, right? If there's anything they need, I mean, somebody else can even have a role for other things. You can specify different roles. Aside from the role-based permissions, individual-based permissions also gives you those limits. It is important. Those places are very critical. Now, somebody said, thank you for the advice. Advice about charges and embedding online charges. This is only possible if you do online payment and not both. Yeah, I mean, some schools you can always do both, right? But I mean, if you do online payment fully, it's better, right? Over time, parents will start getting used to it because at the end of the day, they love it. It's a lot better for them. But the way I advise you is actually the only way it will work effectively. So the only time whereby parents don't mind when they are paying charges is, let's say, admissions. Let's say so a new parent that's coming in, if you put charges in admissions, they don't mind. But aside admissions, whether they're buying item from the school store, or they're paying its fee, or they're making a payment for pocket money, any of these things, you will notice that parents will react. And sometimes you may not be willing to go through that chaos. So a lot of parents are not comfortable with unpaid written in their children's fee. I think we can take it off. If anybody is not comfortable with unpaid, they should just pay the fees now. So it's better. Then another thing I also missed before I start going deeply into these things, you also want a situation whereby if you are owing any fee in our school, we don't want you to see your child's results because at the end of the day, the final product for every school is the result. You can't, if your child doesn't see a result, parents definitely want to react. You can lock it. There's a place you can lock, result lock. So this is what they call result pay lock from settings, which is the super admin does that. Once I turn this on now and save, if you are owing us anything, if you want to see your child's result, the system will pop up and still send you back to that, make that payment. So you can't see your child's result. We'll see a lot of parents, but when you start locking them out, you see that a lot of people start reacting rather than chasing them in their children to come to school. They will never see any of their children's results. So because of that, it's very easy. So the ones they want to see results, the system will pop them up to pay. However, in third terms, right? Because you are creating an invoice in prospect, you also need to be very careful in that one because let's say you just created an invoice in prospect and you locked it. You may actually start locking it maybe towards midterm or before midterm when you want to do your fee drive. You lock it. Anybody that's owing anything at that point will not pay. And after midterm, you can unlock it maybe when all payments are being collected. Not just leaving it on by default all the time because it will create chaos. A parent who you just sent a bill for first term, the parents have already paid for third term, you sent a bill for first term, and the parent is seeing that the results are locked because there's a bill for first term. Of course, they are going to react very badly. So you need to understand how this is used. You usually towards midterm, when you're about to do your fee drive, you lock it. right? And so they won't even see their half-term reports, right? And sometimes you can even leave it to the end of term, but not when you created a fee for next term. That is very important to know. A lot of parents are not comfortable with unpaid written. Please, I would recommend that they should pay so that it can be removed from them. Offline payment implies that parents can access finance on educare. Offline payment means, from the finance part, like I mentioned earlier, they can pay, they can just upload it. So this is for people who say they don't want to pay charges, they don't want, you'll see those kind of unique cases. So we already created a system for them. The whole thing is educare trying to see how we can organize your operations because we know how ineffective it is for you to start sending on WhatsApp, sending via email, getting all those things scattered. Let's also help you organize it, even if you're not ready. If you want to start doing online payments, you are free. Online payment is always available for you. Who is responsible for changing the template for the invoice? Like I mentioned earlier, it is the people that runs the setup. It can be the head of account who runs the setup. We have training videos that can properly guide you, right? But remember, you must give specific roles accesses to these people. It's not anybody that should be able to do it to avoid chaos. So when we say we apply manual confirmation because of part payments. So how do we use switch up for part payments? If you've paid attention carefully, you've seen how I've already done the setups. As once they're about to pay, they can choose to pay instrumentally, they can choose to pay full, right? So there's something else I want to do, right? Let me address this question more elaborately. So I want to check, go back to finance. I want to do some part payment from SwitchUp. This time around, it's automated part payment. It's not going to be the manual part payment. Let me find I think we haven't paid the other one. Okay, so there are some payments we haven't paid. So let me log in as a parent, as Udigwe, and go to parent. Let me go to Udigwe. So I think, Mr. Waters, I think what I'm going to do is I'll concentrate on invoices today because we can't go maybe on Monday we'll have to continue with another set of people. Let me address all these things. I think that would be more ideal. What do you think?
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, so because I want to address all those questions that normally pop up so that everybody will be more comfortable. So here, this is Udigwe. Remember, I initially cleared it and uncleared this one. So let me pay for this one. So I have instrumental payment option for this bill, and I want to pay. So if I click on pay now, so confirm, remember this time around, I've already pushed the payment. So I pushed the payment to school to pay. But if you notice, it's still showing me 1,518, right? Do you know why? Because I did not republish that invoice. If I had republished that invoice, just observe what's going to happen. So you may change it and you are wondering why are parents still complaining. These are the things that happen, right? So I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this, right? And I'm going to go back to republish the invoice. You notice the charges came again, even while I have already switched that school should pay, right? So now let me republish the invoice. I know I'm taking my time on this because these are the issues that schools complain about. Because you know, so why do I have to republish? Educare communicates with SwitchUp. SwitchUp handles the online payment. So when you don't republish, SwitchUp doesn't know that the new instruction has been given, right? So at this point, I go to bill batches. And this is because I've already made some payments here. If I click on this, I republish. So now the system is going to inherit the new instruction, right? It's republishing. If you notice, it's taking little time. It depends on the number of invoices, can even take a lot more time. Here at this point, it's now going to switch up to tell switch up, please, I've already given you a new instruction, right? So now an instruction is inheriting all instructions, meaning that who is going to bear the charges, who is the one in year 7? See. Let me even know the one in year 7. So I'm going to log in here. So I'm in Kamsi's account. So here I click on this. I'm going to pay. I'm confirming here, switch up. So observe what's going to happen. Because we've republished, if you notice what happened now, the bill is now 1,200, meaning that at this point, we have already instructed switcher that the person bearing the bill now is the school, no more the parent. If we have created it, this happens only when you've created the invoice before doing that settings. You need to republish to give a new instruction. If not, it will inherit the old instruction, meaning that you still have to bear the charges. So this is how it works, because sometimes schools will call, sorry, we've made this, we've done this, but parents are still complaining. This is the reason why they are complaining, because you did not republish. So please take note of this. So now let me do a partial payment. So this is 1,200. So I'm going to pay 500, right? I'm going to pay. I also want to show you how this shows on Switch app, because you also want to see it on Switch app and also on educare. Proceed to partial payment. So I'm about to pay 500, right? And I'm introducing a new account number. So now, let me show this. Let me log into this app. Let me log into this app. Okay, just a moment. So I want to make this payment. This is a partial payment for CAMSI. Remember, parents should always follow the instruction. They should always follow the instruction, because the machine doesn't really know anybody. The machine only follows instruction. This account, so what we did is we let the account valid for maximum of 3 days. Traditionally, online payments, they let you account expire after 30 minutes. But for cases of schools, we decided to be able to let it valid for 3 days, but only for the attached payment. So I'm going to make this payment. I'm going to make this payment. So why do I recommend that you put something like 10,000 or so? If you allow multiple payments, in every single payment instance, there is a charge that comes to you. So if you allow the instrumental payment, ensure that the money you are embedding in your bill is relatively better, like 10,000 is okay, or it shouldn't be more than that. But if it's just one, probably 3,000 is fine, or two, but maximum is 2,000. That's what the system can charge you. So if I click on this now, let me wait, and now the system will automatically accepted the payment, right? So you'll notice what will happen. This is a partial payment, and I'm going back. The system have already seen, right? You can see that I have part paid automatically. The system recognizes that I have part paid 500, right? If I go to bill here, I should be able to see that subtotal, total payment is 500. This is as a parent. I don't even need to engage with the school. I have part paid. I have due payment of 700 now, right? So still, it's still automated, right? Nobody's going to interfere with you. If you want to pay the balance, click on this, right? Complete your payment. Once you click on complete your payment, it will still pop up. Do you still want to pay part? The minimum you can pay is 200, right? Let me pay 200 again. I still have one more option. Remember, if you click on this, you see that you have 3 instrumental payment slots. The minimum is 120. So I want to still pay another partial payment. I will still create another account again. Remember, don't pay with the old account. At every instance, the system generates an account for each transaction. So here, money points. So why is it showing money point now? Because we use the multi-routing engine, the state machine. So our system checks the most reliable system at any point. That is what it shows. So you may come in here, you will see, what do they call it? You may come in here, you see another, maybe Sterling Bank or Co. In the last payments, what I'm going to do is, rather than paying so I'm going to complete this. Then the last payment, rather than paying 500, I'm going to pay more, let's say 1,000, meaning that, oh, I made a mistake, I overpaid, right? I want to show you how you can reconcile that overpayment as a school on Switcher. So I've paid another 200. Let's watch and see when the money comes. So we intentionally made between 2 to 20 minutes so that we can carefully manage the expectation a lot better. So the system is listening to Switcher. So now the system has confirmed that the money has come in now. So at this point, we've collected the money. You've seen it here. Then you've seen that we've already have. So total payment for this particular parent is 700. Remember, this is still a parent, no school interfering. Or your automated payment, you have to pay it fully, right? So the last part, which is the third one, let me pay the final one. In the final one, if I click on pay, I can now do complete payment. Completing the payment, I can now say, you know what? I have to pay this. So at this point, I have no more option, right? I can only pay full, which is 500. So now I'm not going to pay 500. I'm going to pay more. If I pay less, I will have issues, right? If I pay more, I won't have issues. But this time around, the only issue I'm going to have is that I have more money with them. So I'm going to pay more. So I will show you how Switch App identifies it. 61628642257. If you notice, there's new account number for every instance, right? Just so that parents don't go and pay with an old account and keep complaining. The system will always log it as a payment issue. That's 4. So now I'm going to do this final one. This is the final instance. This is the final instance. And so remember, we are still on automated payments, no manual collection. Everything is automated. This is how the system handles it. So I have paid more. System is going to take my 500, right? And then I have my 500 hanging. Oh, I made a mistake. So payment is completed, right? Fully automated, no human interaction. Payment is completed. Parents have complained with receipt. I paid 1,000 out of 500, right? If you come in here on your Switch app, right? If you come in here on your Switch app, there's something we introduced under payment. There's something we introduced called payment issues. If I click on payment issues, you will notice something. Refund amount. We are refunding this person 500. Automatically, Switch app have detected the issue. Amount sent is 1,000, right? The invoice amount is only 500. So meaning that this particular parent made more payments, right? So Switch app will ask you as a school, what do you want to do? Remember, these issues we used to resolve it for schools, but now we've made it to be on the decision of the schools to decide on what to do. If you click on this now, it will pop up. Do you want to accept as a partial payment? Which of course you can't because you've already finished paying for this invoice. Do you want to refund the customer? As a school, you can decide to refund the customer. You can type in the reason here and click on refund. If you click on refund, the customer will get their money back. Settle to balance, meaning that we don't want to refund the customer. We'll use it for something else. Let's just settle it to our balance. You can settle it. Redirect to invoice. This is a situation whereby the money for the main invoice has not been completed. So in this case, you have just two possibilities. One is to refund the customer or to settle in your balance. Some schools doesn't like any money that come into the account to go back to customer. You can use settle to balance. If you want to refund the customer, you can simply do excess payment. And once I click on this and say refund customer, we initiate the refund. Please wait for the complete to contact. The resolution has already been initiated on this refund. Okay. I think there's a resolution initiated, or what has it been resolved already? Let me check. Okay. Merchant, refund customer. Okay, I'll find out what this is. But ideally, this is from here. Once you refund the customer, everything is sorted out. So this is how Switch App handles those kind of cases, right? So I believe we have seen how the automated part payment system works. No human interaction. Everything is fully automated. And then for the manual one, we have also seen how it works. Sorry, I'll soon get to answering voice questions. I just want to take the written ones quickly. As advised, we apply confirmation because of partners. So how we use Switch App? Okay. As advised, the school adds the charges on the invoice before sending to parent. I noticed the parent is still paying an extra charge at the point. I think I've addressed this one when I said at any point whereby you've already said it, you must republish the invoice. If you've already created it, if you've not created it before, you don't need to republish. But if you created it, you must republish. If you don't republish, parents must see extra charges, and you will still have those issues. Please take note of it. So the YouTube link, but Mr. Botex,
Yes, please.
yeah, you can share our YouTube channel, Educare ERP. You see a lot of other videos aside from the finance, but you see the finance video 1, 2, 3, 4. You can carefully go through those videos. All the setups, chart of account, and all those setups are deeply explained. So I think it's important we go there. So now this is fine now. There's no need to have an instructional guide to apply. So this complex we just can enjoy. There's no need to have an instructional guide. Okay, the question is a bit sketchy. I'll need explanations. Review on the area of generating for parents. Okay, please can we apply the areas on different chart of account store? There's one thing I'm missing here. I didn't talk about fee waiver. So a situation whereby you want to waive a fee for somebody, finance, you want to do a waiver. This is not a discount, this is a waiver. There's a waiver. I want to apply a waiver for a particular child. You can apply a waiver to the child. Let's say, just a moment, you need to know why you're applying the waiver. Let's say they have already paid, there's a 5,000 remaining and it's holding them back. You want to apply a waiver, or here, let me apply a waiver to this bill. Let me even do this in this one. I've given this person discount. Let me apply on somebody without discount. Let me use this one. Okay, let me apply a waiver. So if you want to apply a waiver, this is what you do. Use waiver. Once you click and it pops up, click on use waiver. Once you use waiver, the system will ask you amount. So this is amount you want. I want to apply 20,000 naira waiver. So this is not a discount, this is a waiver. It's different, right? So I don't need to go and set up for discounts. Once you click on this, reason, let's say lateness refund, and then you put in your password. Put in your password, I think. I don't know. Hope my password is correct in this one. So once you put in your, oh, my password is incorrect. Let me see. Once you put in your password here, let me see if it's correct. Oh, sorry. I'm using a demo portal. So if your password is correct, automatically the system will apply a waiver for you. So that's basically how it works. Please, can we apply it?
I think, sorry, Mr. Alex, I think at this moment we would like to allow some people come up to speak. So if you have anything to say, if you have questions or clarifications, please do well to indicate by raise of hand so that we can unmute you, ask you to unmute to speak. All right, so we have the first hand, Rebecca. Rebecca, please unmute and speak.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good afternoon. Oh, good morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for this beautiful edition. Under the waiver you stopped, sir, I want to ask, is it that you are creating a password or the password you use in logging in?
Your login password. Your login password.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right, Praise Allah Go is next. Please unmute and speak.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Praise Allah here.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you so much for the expository session. You kept saying it's quite simple, it's quite seamless, but I think that's because from your end, these are features you've all the while interacted with.
Yes.
It looks like a lot to do. So I'm saying that, and they're beautiful to apply. There's no way to run away from it. They're nice. However, they look like there's a lot to do at the same time. So if people have said it here, if there are short versions of videos for different aspects that we can have so that we can use this holiday coming now to get ourselves ready for the next session, to put them on board, and also have lines to call, to guide, so that we can enjoy the features. That's just what I wanted to say. And
Yes.
in addition,
Yeah, so that one, we have
I
videos,
put
like
up
I mentioned. We have it on YouTube. Everything is carefully explained.
okay. I put up the question, the talk that said applying the cost of online charge, and then also doing, okay, I said if you do only online payment, you can actually infuse that charge and just put it somewhere.
Yes.
But whereby you're combining both online and offline, are you supposed to give that charge both to offline and online, or to only online? Because if you do that, you have the two different fees and it will just show. So I
No,
will just
for uniformity, for a school who have decided to do online payment, for uniformity, you can apply the same thing across, because at the end of the day, you are still in advantage, right? So the whole thing
okay.
is
I'll say
you are trying to encourage people to do online payments so that you can eliminate offline payments. So for uniformity, apply it to everyone. If you do online, fine. If you don't do online, it's not to your advantage. But you just notice that once you are the one bearing the charges, over time, most people migrate to online because it's a lot more comfortable for them. And they can see how convenient it is. They do their payment, they see their receipts themselves, and everything is clear. So it's convenient for the parents, and it's also more convenient for the school. Does that answer your question?
All right. So at this point, we would like to listen to Hadiza. Hadiza Idris. Please unmute and speak.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Okay, my question will be on discounts. For
Okay.
instance, yes, for instance, whereby the third child gets in my school gets a 7.5%, for instance. Then
Okay.
one of the children has left the year 6, the primary school, he has graduated. So the kids are now 2 kids, and that child, the youngest child, will now get 5% instead of 7.5, because they are no longer 3 kids, they are now 2 kids. Now, if I'm doing invoice in, is it prospect you called it, for this against next session, I had already set my discounts. I am picking all those children that are on 7.5%, for instance. So if I want to work on next term invoices in prospect, do I have to go back to the discount to start changing all those children who no longer have that discount, or is going to also automatically change just the way we pick if we are going to year 4, we pick a year 5 class and all that? Is this something I have to do again manually for all children?
So for now, you may have to
That's my question.
yeah, for now, you may have to still redo it, right? You may have to maybe create new discount instance. That's why sometimes if you're creating discounts, it's always good to have a limit. Let's say this particular child, I know there are 3, this one may be living in year 6. Let me give these people just 3. That mean 3 means maybe for a year, right? After that, that discount is invalidated. So when I create a new one, I can apply the new instance. I don't know if you get me, but this particular one you talked about, maybe we'll find a way to see how we can automate it further.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Then the
welcome.
other question, please, is if there are videos for parents to, we explain all these things to our parents, how they can make payments, how they can do that. I don't know if parents also have those kind of short videos on how to use the educare system to make payments, if they have such.
I think we do. I think we do. But after this session, we do. If we don't have, then we'll have to quickly make. And I know we do actually, because we engage with a lot of parents through these schools. But we'll definitely,
Okay, because it
you
will be
will have one.
easier for
Yeah, we have a PDF document
Okay.
and we also have a video. So we'll have both of them. But I'll confirm from the team.
Sorry, Hadiza, what's the name of your school, please?
Inspire Academy.
All right. So once I get my hands on the link, I will share with you as well. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So
You're
next
welcome.
we'll listen to Chinasa. Educare.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, my question is, can discount be conditional to the tune that if the payment is made once, can you do something like that?
If the parents is what?
If the payment is made once, can discount be
Okay,
conditional?
automating the condition if payment is made once. Okay, that's
Yes,
a
can it be
question.
can it
It
be
can be
conditional
worked to
that
be
the payment?
conditional, but automatically will not make it conditional. So it's an automation that we have to consider. But you can actually do it. So I said if you can make it, I mean, you can do your setups and make it conditional, right? However, capturing it automatically is not, we haven't made that provision. So it's a provision that we'll make.
Okay, then the Botex, I think the whatever you're planning on making available to the last speaker, I think it applies to someone like me too. So you just have it at the back of your mind.
What's the name of your school, please?
Bella Nadia.
Mr. Botex, I think that should be available for all schools so that I think both the parent videos and some of these things. Please we'll make it available.
So we'll share the link on all schools' help desk. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'd like to listen to Dambo School. Dambo, please unmute and speak.
All right. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please, my question goes like this, is on invoice. Please, how do we clear backlogs of invoice that have not been posted? Because we have a lot and we just want to like start afresh. So how do we do that, please?
So when you say invoice that have not been posted, what do you mean?
For example, maybe a child that has been in JS1, which we created invoice for, and then we're not able to post for some time. And then maybe the child is in JS3 and we need to create another invoice. Definitely there will be, it will show that the child is still owing, meanwhile the child is not owing.
Okay.
So how do we
so this is what you do. So remember here on your invoice center, we have sessions, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is, I mean, this one is the most recent session, this is an older session. Probably you have 2 more older sessions, right? Come here, select the session, right? Once you select the session, the system will inherit that session activity. You can see this session, there's 0 activity here, right? If I go back to the old session, the system will show me those activities, right? So you can go back to that session that activity happened.
Okay.
If you go back there, since they have paid, so it's not like you are rolling over their invoices and the rest. Just go back to that section and then manually accept their payments. So it will just inherit in those sections. So whenever they log in now, they will see that they are not owing anything.
Okay.
So when you go to the session, normally you may go there just so to be on the safe side. Anytime you go to an older session, click on this link. Just a moment. Click on this link here. This icon here, refresh. So this icon refreshes the system to ensure that it inherits the current state of that backlog, right? So once you go back there, you can now clear all those past invoices for those children. And even if you want to generate an invoice for that session, let's say you wanted to do an invoice for older session, you can go back to that session, generate an invoice for that session, clear it for that session, just to be sure that you have a consistent record.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank
I
you.
hope that answers your question. Okay, Mr. Waters, go ahead, please.
All right. Next is Rahim. Rahim, please. If you can unmute, go ahead and speak.
So I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
But the first thing is, how do we resolve pending issues on Switch app? Because for my school, we have a lot of payments that were made above. Yeah?
What is the name of your school, please?
Crescent Pearls Leadership Academy.
Okay, so what are the issues? Let me help you.
Huh?
Can you mention some of the issues just quickly, one or two, then I will just give you a guide. You can address the rest.
Okay. So we have 1 million paid.
Okay.
On April 26th.
So a parent paid 1 million and the parent said the invoice has not been cleared, Abby?
Yes, the 1 million is a part payment.
It's a part payment, okay?
Yes, and it did not drop.
It did not drop. So there are two possibilities. If there is a part payment, so on Switch app, like I'm on Switch app here, there's this thing called, if you log into your Switch app and you go to payment, there's this thing called payment issues. If you go to payment issues, if there are any payment issue, automatically Switch app picks it and locks it. In a situation whereby a payment was made, probably it did not leave the bank or it did not even appear here, you have to send your instruction so that we can now engage with your bank to find out exactly what happened. But that is very, very rare. Most of the payment issues will be here, which you now decide on how you want to resolve it. I don't know if you get me.
Yes.
So it's a situation
whereby I have them.
And we can resolve it after the session, right? After this session, we can. So, but basically, this is how it works. It will be very easy to resolve. We'll show you.
My other question is, I noticed that when we apply arrears, it jumps session. That is, if someone is owing from previous sessions, it can add to this session's bill. But it doesn't jump chart of account. Like, let's say someone is owing from store, the person who got an uniform, and the person is still owing. So, like, is there a way we can apply that fee from the store to the school fees bill as an arrears?
Okay, I would like to understand it better. After this session, I will understand the question better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you can do, Rahima, is can you put up a small write-up
on your group? Yes.
Just your group, okay? So that we can do a follow-up and help you.
Yes. Uju will respond to you and help you resolve.
Okay.
All right.
And also, is there anything you need to set up before invoicing prospects?
No. So first thing
aside from,
I talked about the session. Your session should be active. You should be able to, if you go to setup, that's your main admin setup, you should be able to ensure that under manage session that you already have the new session. But it doesn't even matter actually, even without the new session. No. Have the new session, right? Have the new session active. You can just, once you have the new session, right? And you go to have the new session, because I think it's important you have it. Then if you go to setup, which I don't know who have the access, right? The person can, so we are still in the last session, right? You can now activate the new session and then do the invoicing prospect for the first time. You get?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what you need.
Okay, would that be all for now?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, next we have Adiola Grace. Please, if you can unmute and speak. Adiola.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for a wonderful section. So my question is this about the offline payment, whereby the parents make payment and want to or uploads the evidence of payment, proof of payment. So does the system automatically clears that? And also whereby there is no evidence attached to the offline payment, does the system also clears that? I just want to know about that.
Since it's manual, the system cannot automatically clear it. So the idea is you make your payment to Zenith Bank. Normally you send your payment receipt to the email or WhatsApp, right? So that is the way it works. So we have this manual payment dashboard, right? Which is here. Just a moment. Did I activate it here? Just a moment. Let me put it on. We have the manual. I think that's the one it's giving me. We have the manual payment dashboard from the admin, whereby once you upload it, so admin, that thing that admin could have done on WhatsApp, right? admin will now see it in a much more friendly interface. Admin will now look at it, confirm the payment, depending on how long it takes them to confirm it. Once they confirm it, right, let me put it on, sorry. Let me put it on. I didn't put it on. Let me put it on. So I'll log out and relog in back. So I want to show you what the interface looks like.
Okay.
Maybe that's even why I was having issues. Just a moment. Just a moment. So I'll show you what the interface looks like. So this is offline invoice interface, right? So this is the interface. So let me see if I can still upload again. I want to see if it still doesn't show me that issue. I want to see how I can demo it for you. Parent. So it's not automatic in any way. It's fully manual.
Okay.
So, but the only thing is that it gives an organized interface so that you don't try to go through so many places. So offline invoice, if I upload, I didn't activate it before, so that's why I wanted to be sure whether is the reason why it wasn't going. Let me use this. Just a moment. Okay. Zen Bank and account name Malta, and then I paid yesterday. Paid for weekend. Let me see upload. Okay, it's still the same issue. Don't worry, I'll resolve it. So normally once this happens, right, you will get from the, let me use the demo. Let me see, I think I should have on the demo, just a moment. Let me show you what it looks like on the demo. Okay, so if I go to finance and I go to this offline invoices, so here I'll be able to see, so look at this interface, right?
Okay.
You can now see that there are some uncleared invoices, there are paid, there are these transactions, you get. So if we have recent records, you'll see them here. Let me filter by financial year. Let me see if there are activities that will show again. So by the time we have these activities here, right, you will now see, from here, you can now see those invoices, and then you can be able to, maybe by the next session, I will talk about it first before every other thing. You'll see how it's been done. From this backend interface now, the admin or the finance team, that's where they now verify. They'll look at it, confirm the payment. Once they click on accept, it will go to the invoice center and clear it. So they don't need to accept it and still go to invoice center and accept it. So once and then it automatically reflects on the parent's part, accepted. So that's how it works. I hope
Thank you so much.
it makes sense to you.
Yes, sir.
All right, next is Barnabas. Barnabas Omo. You can unmute and speak.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, I think Mrs. Grace must have asked some of my questions. But the other question I want to ask is if there will be a training for the pocket money module, different from what we're having.
We are going to train on every single thing that we have on educare. We're going to schedule it at different days and times.
Okay, please. I think they should also add the switch app training as well.
Yes, it's part of the schedule.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. There's also another thing that, so there's a new introduction we did. By the time we get to payroll, I'm going to train us on that. So, you know, in schools, I mean, school leaders, there are surcharges whereby if you've noticed how difficult it is to prepare payroll, maybe 1 week, they are still working salary. So we introduced a feature that is going to eliminate that. So we're going to train you on that. So basically how it works is if there's any surcharge, you log the surcharge. And then also if you're using the daily attendance system, as they are taking the attendance, if there's any lateness or absence, the system automatically computes it. So during your salary period, once you click on generate payroll, the system automatically compute both your surcharges and your latenesses, right? And then it shows you. So this whole idea of taking 1 week to work salary or 2 weeks to work salary, we are trying to see how we've actually eliminated that headache. So, but continue with your questions. I just said let me highlight it now when we get there.
All right, thank you. Omo Lola, it's your time to unmute and speak.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, sorry, please, in the case where we are to publish an invoice to parents,
okay,
can we reveal what we are sending to such parents after publishing? You know, it only brings out the option of publishing such breakdown of the invoice we are meant to send to them. So can we have a review, like to have an option to review what we are publishing to the parent? Then secondly, okay.
Let me answer this one. So I'll show you quickly in less than 1 minute. So once you have created the bill, let me just do normal bill here. I won't publish it. Let me do normal bill here and normal class and everybody. And I'm going to pick. So I'm going to pick from my and then generate. So I've generated the bill for the class. So this is what I'm going to do. View invoices. Once I click on view invoices, it will show me every single thing. I have not published yet. So view invoices. Even if I want to make amendments, I can, at this point, I can decide to retrieve all the invoices I've created. Let's say when I'm viewing it, I noticed I made mistake, right? I can come in here and then I can retrieve everything. Once I retrieve everything now, you notice that this batch has been recalled. This is still at the point of generation. So if I refresh this now, everything will be empty because there's nothing else again. I don't know if I answered your question.
Okay,
yes,
I guess.
She has another one, but
sorry. Okay, sir. In the situation whereby we want to retrieve an invoice for a particular student, and can't we find any way around it without having to delete the whole invoice
so we have
one after the other and start re-entering it again from the beginning?
So now, if you come to this batch, so let's say I want to delete, so this is another batch, right? So this is a published batch. I want to edit this invoice. So let me do a fresh one quickly. I want to show you something. Second one. You can see how easy it is to generate invoices, right? You can see. So now I can pick from the templates rather than retyping, then I can generate. So at this point, I'll generate, I won't even publish, right? I'll generate, everything is done. If I go to bill badges, I'll see the new invoice I generated, right? I want to make edits. I can make edits on singular invoices, right? If I click on this, I can make edits. I can even work on this. So I can just go to edit here. If I go to edit, I can decide to edit this one for this child on Ibaje, right? I can edit it from the dashboard, I can even edit the whole invoice. Let's say if I want to edit this, there's a fee item I didn't add, right? Or this particular school fees, tuition fees, 580. I needed to change it to 560 or 560. Let me put 535, something that is very visible. I can add it back and then I can save changes. Once I save changes now, I've edited the entire invoice. I can delete even an item that I don't want, a full batch. I don't know if that makes sense. So if I come back here now, I'll see that I've edited that invoice. You can see it's now 935. I did the full batch. I can do individual invoice edit. I can do it here or I can do it from the batch point. I don't know if that answers your question. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Botex?
I guess that answers our question. All right, so I would like to give way to Peter Onoja. Could you please unmute and speak?
Hello?
Hello, Mr.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Peter Onoja.
Okay.
First of all, I want to appreciate the educare for their wonderful efforts and wonderful work they've been doing. However, there is something um, I discover.
Okay.
First of all, from your explanation concerning the arrears, you said after arrears is being appended to a current bill, if payment is being made, the arrears will be cleared.
Yes.
But from my end here, it's not like that.
Which school is it?
Glistin International Academy.
Which school?
Glistin International Academy.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Botex, take note. Would you engage with him after this session so that let's find out the issue and resolve it quickly? Go ahead, please.
All right. That's all. Thank you.
It will be resolved. Don't worry. After the session. Mr. Botex, take note, please.
Yes, please. All right. Thank you, Mr. Peter Onoja. All right. So next, we'll listen to Carlo Samuel. Carlo Samuel, could you please unmute and speak?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carlo.
My question is, since we're talking about online payment through the switch tab, I've noticed that during the reconciliation, some payment that it's about payment that are made through the switch app, we are seen on the bank statements. I mean the physical bank statement, but when you go to the bank statements in the educare app, you won't be able to find those transactions in the bank statement, so which sometimes cause difficulties in reconciliation. So I don't know if there is.
So it's on the physical bank statement, and
it's on the physical bank statement, but not.
And it's also on switch app statement, right?
Switch app statement. I think normally it drops to since the physical bank statement is UBA.
Okay, so we have three statements. We have the physical statement, which is the one you are fully in control of. We also have the switch app statement, which is the route of, so under balances here, we have statements. You can generate account statement for switch app. So it can be a payment statement, which is probably the school fees payment and all, where you can pick a range and then email your statement. You can email your statement, which also have the accurate data. It's reconciled correctly with the bank. Then the part of the educare statement, I'm trying to check what exactly are you using for that reconciliation. Let me know whether maybe are you using the broad view? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mr. Botex? Mr. Botex? Mr. Botex? Can anyone hear me? Mr. Henry? If you can hear me, please, can you type?